It's good.
Okay, we're good. All right, guys, good evening, and thank you for coming tonight. My name is Tim Long, and I am the building principal at Newtown Middle School. Of those of you that are here, how many know what year this building, this current building we're sitting in, was built? Any ideas? That's cheating. Any ideas? 1955. So this building has a lot of character, a lot of years to it, and with sadness we're going to say goodbye to it, but also with great excitement we're welcoming a new building that's going to come on board with us within the next couple of years. We thank you for coming tonight. Hopefully questions you may have, you will get your answers to those questions tonight. Doug Taylor, Director of Operations for Council Rock School District, will be kind of leading us through most of this presentation. We also have individuals from Dewey Engineering who will be our partners on this journey we're going to be taking over the next 3 years. In that they'll be here every day, much like we'll be here every day, so we'll have a constant communication for everything that's happening here and on our site. So with that, I want to start and welcome Doug Taylor.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good evening. I'm going to start by introducing the folks from Dewey Engineering. They will be our construction managers. They're currently working with us they have worked with us at Goodnow Elementary School and Holland Elementary School. We do have a history with them. Did a really nice job for us, and I anticipate that we'll have an equally good, strong relationship here. So first I have Warren Garricky, who's going to oversee both projects for us, and Colin Case, who's going to be our eyes and ears in the field each and every day once the project gets going. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the project. I'm going to go over the fun stuff. I'm going to go over the floor plans, the site plan, and some of the renderings that we have of what the building will look like in 2018 when it is finally completed. After that, Warren's going to take over and talk about the Dewey Engineering role, what they'll do here, how we're going to look after the community, the staff, and first and foremost the students while we construct this building. Now this project is a nice project in that we're building a building next door to this facility. So we're not going to have contractors in and out of this facility with the students. So those two things will be independent of one another, which is fantastic from a construction standpoint. In addition, Warren will talk a little bit about the phasing, how the project will be phased, and what you'll be primarily impacted by on this project is traffic patterns as we move through the phases of the project. We will still function much like we do today. Some of the areas may be squeezed a little bit. What I'll say to that is as we move through those phases, in reality, we'll be sure to get Tim the appropriate documents so that he can share them with all the parents so you understand exactly how you'll be impacted as we move around the building. So that way you'll be fully in tune with what's going on. And then we'll talk a little bit about periodic updates and keeping the community involved as we continue to move through the project. So first, and I don't know if you can see it very well from your seats, but there's an orange rectangle up top here. That is where the new school will be constructed while we're living in the existing building. So this is Richboro Newtown Road, the bypass, this is Green Lane. There will be construction fencing that separates existing from new, and Warren will walk you through that to show you exactly how that looks as we move through the phases. When the project is completed, the site will look similar to this rendering. The existing building is here. The new building, as I said, will be constructed up top. There's a parent drop-off that loops through the front. There'll be an administrative office here, student entry here. Buses will continue up Green Lane toward the high school. We'll loop in, come around, and pull in a chevron pattern and pull back out after they've dropped students off. Those students will come in through the top. We have what we consider kind of a main street that separates the classroom side from the common side, and I'll go through that in just a minute. Once this building is demolished, the years 18 to 19 will be used to demolish that building and restore the site and create a soccer field and finish this parking lot in that last phase. And again, Warren will touch base on that shortly. The floor plan, without getting into a lot of detail, as I said, this is the student drop-off. The parent drop-off is across here. The bus drop-off is across the top of the sheet. This is the main street that I referenced. So to the right are all the classroom spaces. We have a nice courtyard, The library is in the heart of the building where you'd want a library to bring the students to that space. Off to the other side, to the left side of the sheet, we have the cafeteria, building services off in this area, an auditorium in the middle. We have the music program over here, auxiliary gym, health classrooms, gymnasium, locker rooms, and the ability to lock the building down across the classroom side and offer all those common spaces to you in the evenings so that we can keep the student secure in those other spaces without folks running around in the evening. Works out real well from a design standpoint. The upper level, all the areas to the left are the same. These are just high volume spaces, so you're seeing the upper area of the same space. There is some mechanical space off to this side, but they're locked off. You can't get into that. The classroom spaces are off to the right. Again, the upper area of the library. And we have some spaces here, collaborative spaces. Those are breakout spaces outside of the classroom that staff and students can go to outside of the fixed rooms, the traditional rooms. And you'll see those as well. There's one upstairs and downstairs on each level over in here. A set of steps for circulation here and in all four corners, and an elevator at 2 locations as well. So the vertical circulation here is fantastic. We'll move around much better than you can move around this building if you've ever tried to get through, to get around. With that, this is the parent drop-off that I referenced across the top of the sheet. This is the administrative office and the entrance for those students, parents as well. The back of the building where the buses drop off, they pull in and then they pull away. This is the entrance where those students will go as they're dropped off from their buses. This is a shot of the courtyard. The nice thing about the courtyard is we do have some tables, some areas for gathering, for learning as well. This is the same entrance that we talked about. This is the office area, the reception area. When you come into the building, we will have a secure entry vestibule like you're used to. You'll be forced to come into the office before you can actually go into the rest of the building. This is the start of one of the corridor systems. This is what we talked about being Main Street. As you head down the hallway, just a bit further, it opens up. We have a high volume space. We have daylighting that comes in. We have windows up top to get borrowed light. A lot of this comes from the lead design. Warren will talk more about the lead design shortly. Again, the corridor, you can see that even the spaces that are inbound, that don't have exterior windows, because of that high volume space, we'll get some natural light, some borrowed light into the building. It's a shot of the library and looking through into the courtyard, so we have windows looking into that area, or out to that area. This is the library looking the other direction, one of the collaborative spaces up top, and the hallway outside of it. Cafeteria space. This will be the new auditorium and stage. New gymnasium. Band room. Orchestra room. Fitness center. Collaborative space that I talked about that looks into the courtyard. The nice thing about the collaborative spaces is we did take the future into consideration. So both of those areas have been designed with sufficient steel in the floor areas to allow us to put traditional classrooms in those locations should the building ever need to grow in the future. So we did consider how this building may function down the road. This is another collaborative space off of one of the hallways upstairs. A science lab. Typical classroom. Again, lots of natural light. And with that, I'm going to turn the show over to Warren. He'll talk a little more about the process and what to expect.
Thanks, Doug.
Yep.
We've been in the district for a number of years, and we're proud to be back for a couple more middle schools. And I think one of the reasons why we are here is because Dewey Engineering, I believe, is uniquely different than any other construction management company. We're not here just to build a building and go away, but we believe that when we are building this facility that we're talking about tonight, that this is our house. This is the nuts and bolts of what we do every day. This is our backyard. And so when we do that with the interest of leaving the building correctly and operational and functional and have people trained. So I believe that that is something that puts us at a level above any other construction management company that I know of. All of the things that I'm going to talk about tonight within the phasing and the construction portion of it, when we start thinking about that, there are three elements for us that we think of primarily as we put this design together. And that is always, one, the safety of the students and the staff is always primary. Second, that the educational model will never get disrupted. And third, again, is basically just having a flow of traffic so that the safety for everyone is basically there. So those are kinds of the things that we're going to talk about. This building is actually a whole lot simpler than Holland because of the impact of phasing. I will get into a lot of the other stuff that you're going to start seeing come about throughout the building in the near future. Sorry. So you're going to see some erosion and sediment fencings going up. We will always have measures for dust control, and I'll get into that for a little bit in a bit. Temporary protections around trees and fencing. As you're looking out there already, we're already starting to get a separation between the buildings. And then again, traffic control. So all those measures you'll see start coming up there. Our role throughout this and with the community is basically always being sensitive and responsive to whatever your concerns are. And so I consider ourselves being very proactive with everything that we do. But we certainly do miss something. We're human. We can't always be ahead of the curve. So if there is something, and this is where I believe that the sensitivity and the proactive communication with you are our partners in this. We're not doing this alone. We're not doing it without Doug and his team and Tim and his team. We also are doing it with you and for you. So if there is something that you see that is out of the ordinary, as you're driving by or something like that, I would ask you then to contact Tim. Tim will be our point guard. He will get a hold of Colin, and we will address it, and you will find out, you will get an answer one way or the other, whether it's been corrected or whether that's the normal thing. So please feel free to do that. That's what I believe is the proactive, sensitive response to that. Yes, we will be on top of the contractors. We'll be enforcing all of those things. We work closely with the township. We have up to this point, to get the building going. And we've got a great team all together with Doug and his team, Breslin Architects, Terraform Engineers, Consolidated Engineering, our MEP. So we've got a great team, and I believe we've got a pretty good set of contractors as well. So, relative to site, what you're going to see soon is, again, the gated, the chain link fencing going up around, permanent and otherwise. There will be definitely traffic signage. There will be gated entrances for the construction. There will also be stone washing and those kinds of areas. And then again, the other thing that we really reinforce with the contractors and is a weekly coordination meeting with them to make sure that everybody's on board with what's going on. Erosion and sediment, that's Bucks County Conservation District. There are measures that that we have to put in relative to no sediment going off of the site. So you will see a variety of different kind of silt fences and strategic places that they will approve. You'll see these rock entrances for tire wash things. We'd like to avoid any mud getting on the road. Unfortunately, I can't guarantee that 100%, but this is one of the ways of doing it. And, if something like that happens, we definitely are on the contractors to get a street washer on site to do that. So lots of different things relative to site control measures. Some more of that relative to that, again, is the fencing. And we've got a combination of permanent fence and movable fence. And we've got the movable fence because we've got a multitude of phasing that goes on. So there's pretty much a permanent fencing that's going to go around the outside of the perimeter of the site, and then within our phasing you will see the mobile type. Debris and trash collection. What I will say about this is that this is a gold LEED certified building is what's been designed. Anybody know what LEED stands for? Somebody does over here, at least. So it's Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So what we have been given is a $2 million grant to make this facility really energy efficient and sustainable. And that has a variety of ways that we obtain points to get the gold certification. The highest is platinum, the lowest is bronze, so we're just about at the top there. One of them has to do with recycling all the material. So in order to get the LEED points for that, we have to certify that all construction debris, that 75% of the construction debris is being recycled. So only 25% of any of the construction debris actually will end up into a landfill, and it's probably going to be less than that, because it's actually cheaper to recycle than to take it to a landfill. So that's one of the ways of doing it. Again, I talked about having a water truck close for any of those times where there could be a little bit of dust happening. I believe that there will be some site work that's happening now, and I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of dust related with that, and even the building pad. Probably the majority of dust that will happen will probably when they start to demolish this, and so we will have those measures on hand for them to be wetting down the building as they begin to demolish that. So, but we will look at it on a regular basis and make sure it's happening. Some of the existing features, as you know, basically you've got the tennis courts and the temporary arrangements, but these, I guess you guys are going to be relocating some of those for the tennis things. We are going to be putting a temporary parking lot in here because, and I'll show you in a minute, some of the other parking area will be, be taken away from you guys for a little bit. So the removal of the tennis courts to put the building pad in. There will be some slight reconfiguring of the parent drop-off as it is now, but it really will not affect anything. You will probably see some additional signage or direction, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty much unchanged. Temporary things. Doug, you want to address this with the trees? You talked about this the last time.
Yeah, sure. Well, we know we have some memorial trees, plantings around the facility. Those have been identified. Those that we can move, we will move. Those that we can't, we will replant a new tree in memory of the same person and relocate the memorial along with it. So we're being sensitive to the things that are around the building. In addition, some of the first design concepts for this building were to take the row of oak trees along Newtown Richboro Road and actually have them removed to create an embankment and maximize the area for the new soccer field. After further studies, we felt that we could still facilitate a sizable soccer field regulation, soccer, and maintain those trees. And because we're being green, LEED stewards of the earth, we wanted to save those trees. So we're able to salvage those. The protection we're talking about will be putting fencing around those so that they're not damaged as we demolish the existing building.
We have actually a lot of site utilities that we have to be installing. You have basically all the new services to the new building that will come in, but the other big one is basically relative to storm management. So there are, I think, 4 underground storm management basins with the big perforated pipe that you will, once installed, you will actually not even see it because it is underground. And then we actually, like I said, have some special meters that are going in. Again, with the LEED portion of it, if you realize your house, when you walk into a house, you basically have your power, your electrical meter, maybe you have a gas meter and a water meter. That's really not much different as that for a big building, but basically that is the same. But in order to also get some LEED points, it's recognized to get teaching points basically. So what's happening is we're putting specific meters in at strategic locations in the building so that they can actually read power and water consumptions for a small portion of the building and analyze that in a different way. The other thing that's happening within that is that this building is going to have 3% solar panels for your power. That will also have a dashboard that will be able to analyze all the power that's coming in and being consumed and that kind of stuff, and that's also a learning tool that's going to be happening for it. So lots of new and exciting things that will be in this building. Construction phase, you will see shortly that we will start stabilizing the site. Again, we talked about the pedestrian and vehicular circulation, that temporary parking that I've talked about. But basically, you're going to see the equipment coming in and starting up to do the storm management and some temporary other roadways that will happen within. Clearances. The one thing that all construction workers will have to do is register basically with the school district. They will send in all of the variety of clearances that they need to. They will be looked over by the district, and the district will give us a list of those contractors and their employees that are approved. Once they are approved and we let them on site, they will get a badge similar to this one. This one was used over at Goodnow for us. But it will be similar to that with a number on it, and we will register that number and identify that employee so that we know exactly who belongs to what in case there is any kind of incident. I have not had any, thank you, that's very nice because you know, there's a lot of good guys, and we've heard, you know, at both of the other projects how friendly and helpful the contractors have been. So it is a process. It's, you know, nobody likes it that much because it keeps on getting larger and larger all the time, but basically, yes, the children around here, the students and staff around here are safe. We really don't need to look at any of this at this point. It's nice not to have to worry about the temporary partitions. This was a little bit based on the Holland job with the phasing, but the badge process. Environmental concerns, we have an environmental consultant on site. In the near future, he will be actually taking indoor air testing of this facility so that we get a bench line of what that is, just in case there are some concerns that may have happened with construction, so that we can have a measure. We're not anticipating any problems, but it's always the smart thing to do to have a baseline before you start any of that. Okay, now let's get into the real boring stuff, because Doug had the exciting stuff. These are our phasing drawings, and I'm going to go through them really quite quickly. On the bottom corner, you're going to see the start and the finish date of this. So this is basically starting this week, and it goes till the end of the school year. And basically what we're doing is we already have started the fencing that's going to surround us in this area. We're going to put a temporary parking lot in there. We're going to start with some of the temporary storm management items that we have to do. There's 3 basins there that we have to take care of, and there's some other stormwater management piping that we will do there as well. On all of our phasing drawings, we have a milestone schedule which identifies key areas of activities that have to be incorporated into the schedule by the contractor, and that helps move the project along. Next phase is just basically the summer hop, is what I call it. Which is basically, again, redirecting the fence into a larger area, establishing some of those other key elements for us, entryways, doing all of the E&S measures, continuing with some of those storm management and piping industry, and then also beginning to get our temporary roadway and our construction staging into effect. The building probably will not start until September. Unless you know, some really good things happen in the summer, but it's not really planned to start foundations until September.
Warren, can I just add one thing? So if you're asking, well, why in the world are we taking the entire site away, and why can't we use these fields for the next few months? And the answer to that is the existing stormwater for this building runs right through where our new building wants to be. So we have to begin to construct all of the temporary stormwater management off to the area that is currently field area. That has to happen early. There's some early stormwater sediment traps that have to be installed to keep the site clean and neighboring streamways, clear of any silt or mud washing in. We have the large staging area in the upper left, which will be the contractors' trailers. All of the contractors that come here need a place to park, so they will be using that area for parking. So there's a lot going on aside from just that building pad proper. So that's one of the reasons why we have to take, the entire site as early as we do, in case there's any question to that.
Okay, so starting basically the fall of 16 through the summer, again, we're just basically continuing all of that site stuff that we're doing now. We have started the building. Like I said, that building will start somewhere in August or September of 16 and be finished in May of 18, even though it's not shown on this drawing at this point. Again, through this, because we're taking this off, a little bit of a reconfiguration of that student drop-off, but really what you're going to see is just some fencing and some signage to help you get through that. Should not be that big of an issue for anyone. So from June, again, this is just a little bit of we like to try and do the summer bounces because it just means that we have more things to do with other places, and that's why we always have something for the summer. Now we're putting the permanent storm management in. If you remember that picture with all those big pipes, that's going to be in this area. We're going to start getting all the sidewalks and the roadways ready. That's always best to do when we basically don't have any other traffic in the area. And again, we're going to finish the building. So then from August 17 to June 18, the building, again, like I said, finishes in May of 18, starts to allow the district to move in, so that basically the start of the school year of September 18, you will be in the facility. What we're doing is basically getting all the fields prepped and ready. We're getting removing our staging area, getting the bus loop finished, getting all of the varying parking lots and sidewalks all finished and landscaped, and then we're going to hop down to the demolition, and so we're going to basically take care of the demolition, finish that little piece of parking lot off that we took away. This is the line of trees that Doug was talking about right there. You can just see them on the bottom there. So basically the field will end up in there with the trees still being there. And I think with that, and again, we will actually mill and overlay Green Lane at the end of it. We'll get rid of the fencing, and by August of 18, we will be gone.
Warren, can I just add to that? So when we're working on the demolition of the existing building, you can see that yellow line around it. We have a construction fence established around that area, much as we had on the other side of the site. So we move the protection of that area around it. We construct the new lot. We have a stone tire wash as well. So that's treated as its own construction project and properly protected from students from entering that site.
Yeah, good point, thanks. So during that whole time, Colin's role, my role to assist in that basically, again, is to make sure everybody is safe and content with what we are doing on site, moving this forward in a direction that's positive for everybody. We will be communicating with all. I don't know, Doug and I haven't established. We may do, a semi-annual, PowerPoint for you, those kinds of things. But again, we are your people. We are working with you as a team, and I can't emphasize enough that we are only a couple of guys, but we are very efficient, and we do depend on being a good neighbor to you and having you as good neighbors help us through this process if you see something out of the ordinary. And I think that's about it.
So what I would like to do is, before we open up for questions, note that while Warren said there are a couple of guys, they're also supported by a sizable office and great staff with specialists in all areas, which is another reason they're here. They have experts that can address any issues on site. And what I like about them in addition to that is that they are not finger pointers, they're problem solvers. So when we have issues during construction, we're not sitting in a trailer wasting time pointing to each other, asking whose fault it is. We're resolving the problem and we're keeping the project moving. As Warren said, we have 2 years to build this new building. We can't afford wasted time, so we will all work together to move forward in a positive way. And it's been great. They've demonstrated that at the last 2 projects, and I expect the same here. With that, I would love to hear any concerns, comments, questions.
2 questions.
Sure.
I see
You only
that
get
the-
one.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding.
The tennis courts, they're going away. Are they being replaced, or are there other plans for tennis to be performed elsewhere?
The tennis courts are being removed, and they're not planned to be reconstructed here.
Okay. So if kids are in the tennis club now, is there going to be a tennis club going forward? Maybe they would use another location?
I would have to get an answer on how clubs would work down the
Okay.
road.
And then, is this going to impact 8th grade promotion at all? I've never done it here, so I don't really have a familiarity with how it works in the first place.
Eighth grade, what, I hear the word?
Promotion.
Eighth grade
8th grade
promotion.
Will this affect eighth
Since
grade
there's going to be
promotion?
construction and whatnot going on during May to June, is that going to affect how promotion is handled?
No, promotion, it will not impact that at all.
Okay, is that here? I don't even.
Our 8th grade promotion is more of an award ceremony. We don't do anything really formal.
Oh,
We do recognize kids and their accomplishments, but there's no like formal like graduation ceremony
Okay.
from Newtown Middle School.
interesting.
Can I ask a follow-up
Sure,
to the tennis courts? What about all the other fields if our children play sports?
sure. All of those other fields plus will be reconstructed, so we'll be gaining, I think, 1 additional field in addition to what was here before we started. We are losing tennis, but we will be reconstructing every other field, baseball, softball, football, and a couple other fields as well.
How about during the time span where they're not available?
So,
Sure. I can respond to that.
so let me just repeat, because unfortunately you can't hear it on the camera when we have done this in the past. So asking what we'll do about fields during the construction phase.
So if, as you drive by right now, currently, we've lost our baseball field, we lost our soccer fields. So we've relocated soccer to the football field. Our baseball programs are working with the high school right now. So our 8th grades are going to practice up in the high school in the various space they have available to us. Our 7th grade baseball will still be accommodated. Our softball field's integrity is still there. So we have plans for right now for moving forward for, in generalities, our fall sports. If you've ever been by Newtown Elementary, they have basically 3 fields, 3 nice full-size functioning fields. So soccer, football, and field hockey will take place there in the fall. In the spring, much the same. We'll send our girls soccer team over there. We'll send our track team over there, and our baseball and softball is going to utilize the fields with immigration up through the Newtown parks. We're going to use the fields right across the street from Bucks County Community College. I'm not sure, I can't remember the complex name. So they're accommodating. In fact, they're even recommending that they're going to, because they know our kids will go there with some money, they're going to open a snack bar for us while we're practicing. So, but we have everything. It's going to be a little bit of growing pains, a lot of adjustments as we go. Kind of get feedback, make some changes, get feedback, make changes, but we do have a plan in place for our kids to be successful and for our programs to still be strong.
And the challenge with that is we can't complete the field and utilize the field immediately, so we have to give them additional growing seasons so that we're not compromising the turf from the get-go. So that's why it's a 3-year plan, I believe. Yes.
You back up to the park here. Is there a cross-country course on the site or planned to be?
Cross-country, we don't have cross-country at the middle level, but the high school does access the park, and that'll still be available to them through the path.
Yes.
I just wanted to just confirm, so for those middle school sports, for these next 2 years, the school district is already committed to busing those kids to wherever they have to go to play those sports, or is that something that still needs to be resolved at the board level?
No, I believe that's been accomplished, and yes. Also, then you repeat the question to the down, I don't know if to do or not.
Well, the question was, is there a commitment to bus the students for sports after school? And the answer was yes. Yes.
I had heard there was an opportunity to build a track on our facility. Is that still happening or not happening?
The track was actually looked into during the design phase and determined that we wouldn't build the track at that time. Since then, a question has come up at the recent board meeting relative to consideration for a track. And we are in the process of collecting the information and how that would affect the cost of the track, the approval process. Because we've been through the approval process, the conservation district, stormwater calculations, impervious surface, all of those things would have to be revisited. So we're going to look at what the cost would be, what the potential location would be, how it might impact other fields that would have to perhaps be compromised to allow for a track, and lastly, if it would create any potential delays, which would certainly be a challenge for us at this point. So that information is being gathered, and it will be shared with the board in the very near future.
So it's not determined yet?
I don't think
Okay.
it's not confirmed at this time, no. I mean, right now, we know there is no track, so we have to determine if there's any potential for reconsideration. Yes?
You had mentioned 75% of the construction debris would be recycled. Does that mean at this school, 75% of this school would be recycled?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, Warren talked about lead, and I'm not a lead expert. I know a lot from being involved in construction, and I know that I believe it's 60 points are required for gold.
64.
So we are, going points at a time, trying to get to where we need to be. So anything we can do environmentally to benefit from that. There's no guarantee you get the points just because you're applying for those points. So we're doing everything we can to maximize our opportunities. So the 3%, producing 3% of our power from solar is a great opportunity for us to do the right thing and to get a couple points as well. And there's many other, there's daylight harvesting and some good things that we've implemented, using the sunlight to adjust for the foot candles in classroom spaces. A lot of very good things. And the teaching tool and using it as part of our program, educational program, is something that I'm really excited about as well. Yes?
I have a couple. When you do the temporary lot, is that asphalt or are we going to live with gravel? So
It's
that you
asphalt.
use it?
It is asphalt. It's temporarily striped asphalt.
And then it's going to be crushed up and recycled somewhere on the site?
I don't know that it will. I don't know that it would necessarily be used on our site for fill, but I know that it is.
Okay. During the construction, are you planning on having security cameras to monitor the site and monitor construction activity?
Right now, we have security cameras within the facility, where we're housing students. I'm not sure what the intent will be with the construction site proper.
Okay. And how are you addressing the off-gassing VOCs for the new building?
Sure.
Are they going to be low VOC?
They are, and because it's a LEED building, we have to certify that the building is clean in that regard. So we have air sampling and verification of that as part of our LEED commissioning process. Good questions.
Yep.
Yes.
The flooring, I couldn't tell from the designs, is it going to be a lot of carpet or tile or?
Right now, all the corridor systems are a terrazzo material, like the ground stone, like you've seen if you've been to south or north, the terrazzo floors. Classrooms are a 2x2 a tile, but it is a non-wax tile, so we're going to minimize the maintenance in the classrooms. We don't have to wax the floors as we did. And then some antimicrobial carpet tile in libraries and maybe administrative areas, spaces like that. But we would not have carpeted hallways. We would definitely have sustainable materials in those spaces that are environmentally friendly as well. Anything else? Happy to answer.
I might have missed it because I was a little bit late. Did they say the building itself is going to be air conditioned, or is it just going to be where it is now?
It will be fully air conditioned, yeah. We have a very good, we have chillers, we have boilers, we have a 4-pipe system. It's a quality HVAC system, and it's actually been investigated We spent a lot of time investigating what the best option was for the project, also considering lead and points, because that's a big place for lead points. And we looked at ground source heat pumps, we looked at all of those other options, and at the end of the day, using gas-fired boilers and chillers ended up providing us with the most energy-efficient system and still provided us with almost the same amount of points that a ground source heat pump system would have.
You said there was a 4-pipe system?
Yes. Yes.
So the chillers, do that come in after cooling, right? Are they just air-cooled chillers?
They're air-cooled.
Okay.
These are great questions. Yes.
Any concerns with noise disruption for the students in this building while construction's going on during the school year, really close by? That's not far.
Always concerned, obviously always concerned for noise. The nice thing about this is that we are building a separate building outside of this building, so we're fortunate to have the masonry walls and the window systems to separate us. If there were some activity that were generating excessive noise and creating a real issue for Mr. Long, we would certainly have a conversation. We don't foresee blasting or anything like that as part of this project, so I don't really think that we're going to see anything like that. Establishing the stone building pad may be one of the most, believe it or not, challenging, because we use a vibratory roller that you can feel rumbling across the ground. But again, we're very careful. We work closely with the principal, and if there are issues, then we'll address those during construction on a daily basis. So this is something that we monitor closely. I don't have major concerns for that. If we're keeping windows closed in this building and doing the right things, we shouldn't have an issue with that. Anything? Yes?
Just some real general questions about the size of the facility. Maybe I should actually know this. The auditorium, how big is it relative to this one, or relative to north? Can you give me a relative size of that?
673.
How many people fit in?
60-something.
It's about the same size, about 670 occupants, roughly.
Same size stage, all equal facilities are better?
I would say logistically, our new design works better in that we have programs that are very convenient to the stage that can wheel things onto the stage without worrying about how the vertical challenges and things such as that. So we have spaces that are convenient to the stage that I think is going to work out well.
You mentioned that it was a higher space, but it doesn't have a fly system.
It doesn't have a fly lock. Anything else? Yes.
Will there be any opportunities for the current students to visit maybe or learn something out of while the whole construction is going on next door?
We will work
Repeat the
with.
question.
I'm sorry. The question is, can we use the new construction as an opportunity for students to perhaps observe any of the construction as we go? And yeah, I know you would like that. And we will work with Tim. I know that Warren on other projects has worked with other principals on other projects to take groups of students and use it as a teaching module in a sense. So anything we can do to safely manage that process, I'm in support of. Warren Dewey Engineering is in support of. So we'll work with Mr. Long to see if that opportunity is out there.
Okay.
Yes.
The additional breakout spaces you said were designed to be able to be turned into classrooms. The idea of that being, I'm trying to kind of get a measure for the capacity of that we're going to have on day one, I guess, versus it being the only feeder school then for North. Do those breakout spaces need to be fit out as classrooms in order to get this school to the full capacity to match what would flow for the maximum capacity of the high school? Or is that?
No, I understand what you're saying. Right. I say that just because I wanted to explain that we were thinking ahead as we designed those spaces. So we went through a lot of value engineering. We went through a lot lot of group discussions, design discussions. In fact, and I'll answer the question, I'm proud of the process because we collaborated with the architect for the Holland Middle School project. So we worked in the same design team meetings. We worked as closely together as possible to get parity between these facilities. So even though Holland Middle School is a renovation project, when it's finished, both of these buildings will be about 185,000 square feet, 186,000 square feet. Both of them have a similar Main Street kind of feel, although Holland kind of steps a bit, and the separation between classrooms and common spaces. So I'm really happy at the way both teams work together. The architects work closely. The answer to your question is the capacity doesn't rely upon those to become fixed classrooms to meet the capacity that it was designed for. We have 7 teams. A team is about 130 to 140 students. The building is designed for 7 teams. So if that answers your question, we're in good shape. And both buildings, Holland and Newtown, have the same number. They're both designed for 7 teams.
7 seems odd. Well, it is odd. I don't mean literally. 7 teams would mean 4 teams in one grade and 3 teams in the other, right?
Not necessarily, no. No, the 7-team concept, it could be a split team. For example, a teacher may teach 3 sections of 8th grade, 2 sections of 7th grade, or vice versa, depending on numbers. If that makes any sense. So it won't be a pure 7th or pure 8th grade team. It could be a mix. Or it could be pure based on numbers, because one class may be smaller numbers than the class that's following behind. But more than likely, it would be a hybrid team of both 7th and 8th grade.
So I want to be careful not to turn this into a capacity conversation or redistricting or anything. I mean, they're fair questions, and I welcome you to come to any board meeting and ask those questions. We'll be happy to try to answer those, but I want to try to keep this to just building construction. But or stop by afterwards, we can talk, no problem. Yeah? Yes?
The demolition of this building will be the summer of 18, is that my understanding?
It will start end of summer of 18 into 19, yes.
Okay, so it will be happening when students are on the property,
When they're in the new building,
when they're in the new building?
this will be fenced in and then they'll be demolishing.
This one, why students are in that building?
Correct.
Okay, what are we?
It's gen-
asbestos that's in this building that I'm sure.
Sure, no, that's a fair question. So your concern is,
To protect them
Yep.
in the new building?
that's a very good question. Before you can demolish this building, you have to treat it as if it were an occupied building. Someone has to come in, we have to put protection up, we have to remove any environmental concerns that live in the building with negative air in the space, with signage, everything you would do in any other facility. They have to take it, they have to legally dispose of it, and the building has to be clean of those asbestos or whatever other items could be in the building. And then the environmental consultant that we have on board will do air clearance to make sure that we're good. And after he's confirmed that, then that area of the building can be demolished. But not until we've removed anything such as that can that happen. And none of that will happen while kids or staff are here. That will all happen after the kids are in the new building. These areas, the respective areas, will be sealed off, will do what they need to do. And they'll do it by phases, and they'll pick apart pieces of the building at a time. And the demolition is more careful than you might expect because they are recycling material. They can't just come in and rip it all apart and make a big pile of rubble. They want to kind of pick the steel. They have to take the masonry. So it's a little more surgical than you're used to seeing.
So you're not going to stand the kids around the fence while you implode the building?
No, just administration.
Although they would probably enjoy that for sure.
Are you completely furnishing the new building with new furniture, or are you reusing what's here?
Many would love that, but what we've done is we've inventoried the furniture that we have at 3 schools, at Holland, at Richboro, and here. And we're trying to determine what furniture can be reutilized at the 2 schools that will stand, Holland and Newtown. And when we have that inventory determined, then we will supplement with new. Here, it's a little easier. We can say, we're going to take this stuff and move it into your building those 2 months or 3 months we have to occupy the space. Holland is a little different in that as we finish a space each 6 months, we have to move furniture into it. It's more of a shell game. So we may, have new furniture deliveries that are timed with those phases so that we're not taking furniture and moving it multiple times. But we do want to inventory and see what we can reutilize without. We will not be totally refurnishing any of those buildings. Yes.
This may be a ridiculous question because my kids are elementary age. Do phys ed classes in middle school go outside and use fields?
Yes.
They do, right?
They do.
Will the children in the 2017 to 18 school year have access to some kind of
We have.
Field
In fact, starting
outside?
next year, we kind of arranged, again, a good partnership. Having Council Rock North right next door provides a great benefit to us. And so our health and PE class will run, and we're actually going to access, the softball field as you go under the bypass. That's going to be it for us. If you don't know, the middle school, we run 45-minute periods locked together, so they'll have a total of 90 minutes to go run their PE classes. We also have where trailers 6, 7, and 8, if you're familiar with the building, we have 3 trailers sitting out front. We've flattened, taken some trees out. It's another space we've created for the health and PE classes. So we've arranged for plans to take care of those situations.
So 2 items of safety related to each of those. One is if and when they go to the high school portion, there is, if you're not familiar with the site, a safe walkway from here all the way around to that, except crossing Green Lane, which would obviously be a PE teacher here for that. The second piece of that is any field that we keep out front, we will ultimately get some temporary construction fencing, orange fencing up to establish the parameters of that so that kids are staying within that and not running out near the street. Right.
That'd be second in
And it
line to the
wasn't
enclosure of the
ridiculous.
building. The kids watching and with the asbestos, we'll be setting them out in the streets. It's a too dangerous task. Got it all covered.
Anything else? If you think of anything you wish you would have wanted to ask, again, you can ask Tim Long. You can call me. You can email me. Doug Taylor. I'm on the website under the facilities portion of our website. Feel free to reach out anytime now or through the process, and I will get to your questions and make sure that we're all working together through the next couple of years. Are you good? All right. Well, thank you very much, guys, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.